Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And You Still Going On About
That.
Season 3.
Yeah. Crazy.
Season 3. You need like those whatever those horns are.
Yeah, like bugles or something.
Air horn. No, those like
like at a truck rally.
Yeah, that or like radio DJs and they go beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And I'm not doing the sound wrong.
No, I know what you mean though. Season 3, that's a big deal.
It is. I mean, we're like billionaires now from all the money that we make on this, right?
Yes. Well,
you're like I am.
We've outlived 50% of Joss Whedon's television series.
And pretty much like 95% of old Fox, the network Fox, like pretty much outlived 90% of all their programming that they aired in the 80s and 90s and 2000s. We outlasted them all.
I think we have more seasons of most of the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah.
So
take that, Iron Fist. Well, thing is, there's no money exchange. That probably helps a lot.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, for some reason, you're always mentioning Little Debbie snacks.
Yes.
Are you profiting off this and not telling me? You're always like, let me get into an important moment and talk about zebra cakes.
I would never.
Yeah, I would never.
I would never.
Why
never.
do you have gold teeth now, Joseph?
See, the delicious light Debbie
Little Debbie snacks.
Yeah,
a delightful treat.
The zebra cakes are good.
Don't leave them in the sun.
No,
because that's when they turn into hobgoblins.
Right. Well, the weird thing about most Little Debbie snacks is that they're combustible. Like they're essentially like sawdust and oil. You could light them on fire.
Well, the corn syrup.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Which is actually 90% brominated vegetable oil.
Ooh.
Gets in contact with even just a simple spark.
Yeah.
Do you remember that explosion that happened last year in Libya? Was that Libya?
Yeah. It was like they said it was a fireworks factory. I think it was. I think it was on I'm pretty sure it was Libya. It was a country in the Middle East. It was on a coastline.
Yeah. I think what was messed up about that was somebody had a Little Debbie snack and shined it in the light the wrong way.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Kids with magnifying glasses and a Little Debbie snack cake.
They're fucking ending. They're gonna end the world.
Right. Well,
so I don't think we're ever going to get a sponsor with the
probably not Little Debbie. Probably not.
No, well, maybe from its cousin, Big Barry,
Large Marge,
Large Marge,
Large Marge Trucker Snacks.
You remember Pee Wee Herman would talk about that? Yeah. The Large Marge.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out, I never noticed that, like on her her grave, and how like she was supposed to be like in her early 30s when she died. She did. The road did not do her well.
No, it's tough on the road.
This is like Obi-Wan with the two sons, like staring down, aging like 40 years in 18 years.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of went on a tangent, or maybe I did. We didn't get into what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the first 5 episodes of Cobra Kai season 3.
Yes.
It just got launched on Netflix literally on New Year's Day.
Right.
I don't think it was supposed to premiere until a week later. But Netflix said, we don't give a fuck. We're going to dump it all. We dumped the new Transformers cartoon on there. We just dumped Sabrina on there the day before.
The new Headspace meditation.
We're gonna dump all our major properties all in one day.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, there's been some good stuff streaming lately. I actually caught I finally got around to watching Queen's Gambit, which I thought was quite good.
I watched that. Really good.
But we both really enjoyed seasons 1 and 2 of Cobra Kai.
Yep.
And we kind of figured we would tackle it. And we were going to cover tonight the first 5 episodes of a 10-episode run for season 3.
Now, you only saw the first 5 so far.
Yes. Yeah.
I've only seen all of them, but I have the memory of a fly. So I don't even. What's your name?
Which one?
Your name.
Oh, my name. Yeah, no.
Remember, I have a memory of a fly.
Joseph K. The Cobra Kai season 3, I've only seen the first 5 episodes, and I rewatched a good chunk of them and rewatched episode 5 tonight before we started recording. And I'll tell you, they couldn't have come up with a better midpoint ending. I mean, it felt like I've seen the first 5 episodes, and it seems like now we're going to move into the next 5 episodes with the deck shuffled a little bit, that the stakes have been raised. A lot of the kind of the pieces of on the chessboard have been moved around.
Wait, are you watching the Queen's Gambit?
Right. And
this is
so
checkers, if anything. And
it feels like a really good place where if it were a traditional series, you'd have that mid-season hiatus. Like TV shows used to do, like, show you 9 episodes and then take like 4 weeks off for like the Olympics or something, and then they'd come back with the back 9 episodes of the season. And this feels like it was kind of built that way. So I'm almost glad that I paused at the end of 5 episodes.
And we're gonna talk about the first 5, and then we're gonna do our YSGOAT news episode.
Yes,
tomorrow.
Big news.
Mm-hmm. We're waiting on. We decided to. We usually actually would record that tonight.
Yes.
Or actually, yeah. But we decided that there's just going to be so much stuff that's going to happen that there was no point in talking about it until tomorrow night.
Right.
There's some things going on. We're not going to talk about it now because we want to just focus on Cobra Kai.
Yes.
So Cobra Kai, the crazy thing is that they were able to film that, I guess, before January last year. I thought they filmed it during COVID, but maybe they did some pickup shots, who knows? But the entire season was supposedly finished back in January.
Okay. Wow.
And I was wondering, like, because I was curious about how, like, they announced it, and I guess Netflix maybe kept it quiet, or maybe the show was filmed and I don't even know. You guys look it up. I was like wondering when it got filmed and everything.
It seems like a weird show. There's so many characters, but like rarely do they all appear in the same place. Like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the filming was probably just quick little day shots or whatever. Like you have scenes of, scenes where like Daniel is off in Japan,
They actually filmed it in Japan. I was curious. I mean, it made sense, but like when I rewatched it, and I actually looked at the TV most 100% of the time when I rewatched it. I was like, okay, there's actual shots where he's like in Japan when he visits. He goes to Tokyo first to talk to a car company that sounds like another car company.
Yes.
Doidona or
Nissan Oto or something like.
Doidono. It was like, I wonder what that's supposed to be. Yeah. Clearly Hyundai. And he went to what was the town?
Okinawa was the
that's where Karate Kid 2 took place. And they showed lots of outdoor shots of that, lots of scenic stuff. So yeah, they actually did film in Japan, so that's cool. I'm wondering, like, does the budget look a little bigger this season with like the Netflix money? Yeah, I mean, I think even season 2 looked a little bigger than season 1. Like, I mean, not like that YouTube money; it wasn't smaller.
Yeah,
most shows in general usually, even on the biggest networks and stuff, the first season's always, unless they are doing like something crazy like Lord of the Rings or something. Like they have a big property. But when they have something that they're like 100% not sure of, they're gonna give it like.
I think a lot of the stuff is like in like who they're hiring to do the makeup, who they're hiring to do the lighting, who they're hiring. Because it seems like, I know they don't film on film for these anymore, but it used to be that you could clearly tell the difference between like film stock and video stock. But now with everything being pretty much digital, I think it comes down to like the people that color the digital film, so to speak, and it does look more expensive, even though they're still shooting in like high school gyms and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The show, I think so far I'm happy with it, and well, I mean, I've seen it all, so
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to season 4, but I'm going to pretend I didn't see those last 5 episodes.
Right. Good. Because I don't want to be. Well,
I mean, I could ruin it right now. I thought it was really weird when Drago showed up, and I was like, what's going on here? They're crossing over now. Mr. T showed up.
Bowser.
The American Ninja. That guy, the American Ninja movie series, he showed up. I forgot his name.
The other Bowser.
Yeah.
So you have the Mario Bowser and the Shana Na Bowser both in it, which is
cool. MC Cool Cat showed up from the Paul Abdul video.
Nice.
I thought it was really cool, and the cast of Breakin' was there.
Yeah.
Them had a dance.
Except for that one guy, the Shaba whatever just passed on. The star of Breakin' and Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was all over the Twitterverse like a couple
days ago. Did you hear about what's her face who died, and then they announced that she wasn't dead, and then she actually did die. Then she did die.
Oh, she did die?
Yeah, she died the next day.
Oh, fuck.
Which is insane. I think I don't think it I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing's crazy. It's
that's messed up.
I gotta read the timeline. What's her name again? Tanya Roberts.
Yeah.
She was in a bunch of stuff back in the day. I think she was one of the Charlie's Angels, but she also, her biggest role modern time is 70s show. She played the mom of the redhead. And I guess they announced she died. The publicist announced she died.
Right.
And then it was revealed that she didn't.
Yes.
And then she died.
Like
literally, I guess the publicist was like, no, you're dead. Here. I don't know. We'll find out. That would be pretty insane.
Yeah, that is messed up. Yeah. Well, Cobra Kai season 3 does look sharp, and I thought like going into it, I was pretty excited. Season 1 was just awesome. Season 1 was probably one of the most fun. It was a very tight, well done season. The second season is good, but it's like season 1 works in that if it was a one and done, they do leave things open. But if they were to if the show didn't get renewed, right,
then the end of the world. I mean, they did have a good stinger with Kreese showing up.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with season 2. Season 2 is very, very good. But season 1
season 2 is awesome. It's just, I mean, you get more stuff with the kids and Kreese being back, and you go further. But I think this season really, so far, I don't want to ruin anything for you.
Right.
We're talking only the first 5 episodes. I don't know what happened after episode 5.
Sure.
I just start talking about those episodes instead of this episode. So
I'll be completely lost.
Season 2 ended. Miguel fell to his death into a bed of spikes, and I thought that was a little harsh.
It wasn't exactly that.
Oh, sorry, I was watching something else.
You've been betrayed by your fly-like memory again. No, it was a big fight amongst the kids, and Johnny's biological son kicked Miguel over a railing, and he took a real nasty fall, and it was clear that he was on life support or in a coma, and that's kind of where it ended. Well, that's where Miguel's story ended that last season.
And then also Johnny was upset about the whole thing.
Yep.
And then he basically lost the dojo to Kreese.
Right. Which is not exactly how businesses and business licenses work, but sure, is it something?
Well, they kind of go into it more, and Johnny didn't have any paperwork filled out. He didn't. I don't think he didn't pay the license for it. He didn't own it. I guess Kreese could come in and be like, "Well, technically, this is my brand.
Right.
I own it." Yeah, it's a little weird.
I trademarked Cobras.
Johnny didn't put up a fight, really.
No, he was so disillusioned with what had happened, he walked away from it. He basically abandoned it.
If he was more of a truly rational thinker,
right?
I think there would definitely be some
And he
involved.
He is naive, because in this season we find out that he believes his laptop was broken because it stopped working.
Yes.
And the guy's like, well, did you ever plug it in? He said, no, you said it was wireless.
Yeah, he never charged it again.
Right.
He's again, just like in the first season, it's like when he wakes up in bed in the first episode of the season 1.
Yeah.
It is almost like he's waking up from a coma.
Yeah.
From the mid 80s.
Yes.
It's like amazing how he's just so clueless on so many things.
He is. He's a man out of time.
He's a man out of time. He's like really naive, really backwards views. And he is the best character on the show.
Oh, by far. But
anytime he's in this, the show's the best. And I mean, like,
he is the baby Yoda of this show.
He is the baby Yoda.
Yeah.
If like Boba Fett was baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Like if Boba Fett was like, not just in my Boba Fett, but I'm also a baby Yoda.
Right.
Aw.
Dual threat. Like he takes his helmet off and he's baby Yoda, but then he puts it back on and he kicks ass.
Yeah.
Right.
He takes his helmet off and it's literally just like a little baby Yoda under the helmet.
Standing on a platform.
Right. Holding like gear, pulling gear.
Yeah.
Like a Boba body. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like some Men in Black shit. Like that movie, Men in Black.
Right, right.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, let's see. So the first episode of the season starts with like, well, Miguel's in a coma. Robbie's on the run because Robbie's a douchebag. Robbie is the most improved character of the season so far.
Yeah.
Just to the base of the fact that he cut off his stupid hair.
Right. That is true.
Just on that alone is the reason why he moves up.
Before because I noticed I used to not like that character very much. I thought the actor was fine. There's really nothing wrong with him. But I think what I like about him this season is previously he would play the like suck up kid, like trying to pull a fast one on the adults, and then he'd shift into the sullen teen criminal mode. This time he just is what he is. He's all 100% just a ne'er-do-well kid. And I think that's a lot more realistic or easier for me to take. The times when he was like working for LaRusso and he's like, I'm gonna make a good man. It was just like, wow, that was quick. So I think it's a lot more believable character now.
Well, I mean, he kicked Miguel off a rail.
Oh yeah.
And then he ran instead of facing like, yeah, I did that, owning up to it and being like, he hid. I don't know. He's supposed to be a kid, so I don't know. It does, and he's also, here's the thing. Here's the biggest part about that character. He's not real.
Oh yeah, he is fictional. I left that part out. Yes.
Yeah, he is fictional, and
he's probably not even Johnny's real son. Like the actor.
The actor.
Yes.
That's what I heard.
They're probably not even related. They don't look a lot alike.
Trying to pull this shit on us.
Yeah. Well. Anyway,
that's not Daniel's wife. What the fuck?
So that character's improved a lot. I agree with you 100%. The Johnny character is awesome. Every time he's on screen, he's so good. And it's a weird mix because like he gets to grow. I mean, he's not like this static character that never evolves. He's evolving,
Yeah, he's not like an Archie Bunker type that just never learns every week. It's the same thing over and over. I mean, his personality will still be there.
Right. He still has the Playboy with Vanna White in it, in his closet, like that's.
Yeah, like he's still going to be this 80s jock douche guy. But he'll like, no, shit, I don't remember. Did he? No, okay, I don't want to ruin it. That's later on because there's something so funny with him and that he does, and it's so weird. He does so many funny things. Okay, so was it the first episode when they do like a meeting and they're like, can't have karate here,
Yeah,
That's the episode begins with like the news and people talking about like the karate gang and like, what's up with this area with karate anyway? I thought that was an 80s thing. But like Daniel LaRusso and everything's trying to defend karate in the area, and like
someone in the crowd's like, I heard you were a bully. You know,
I heard you were the bully, and it's
right.
like, what? How would you know? That's so weird.
It was great because
like how would I was stalking the whole time.
Well, Daniel says, like, you know, we can't ban the karate's not the problem. When I moved here, I was bullied and karate saved me. And some like rando in the crowd's like, I heard you were the bully. Like,
I was like cracking up. I was like, oh, this show's awesome. It's like so weird. It's weird. Like, why would you even?
It really is. And I know I said this a lot in our last episode about the Karate Kid. This season, even more than the last couple, reminds me in a really good way of the best parts of the OC, that TV show, the OC.
I never watched that crap. There was a lot of stuff that remind me of like Degrassi.
I never watched Degrassi, but yeah, I'm sure it's not. It's whatever high school show you liked, but the OC was good in that it had like parallel storylines where you would half the show would follow the adults and half the show would follow the kids, and I think this show does a really good balance of the two. The OC favored the teens and would give the adults like 40% of the airtime, and this show is kind of the reverse. Probably about 60% of the time you're watching the adults, and then about 40% of the time you're watching the kids.
It shifts around. I mean, like this season, especially the first 5 episodes, like there's a lot of Johnny in it, but then it also focuses on Daniel because he's going to Japan. And I like how they set up the whole Japan thing. It's not like, I was like, how are they going to get him to go to Japan, right? Like, and because I knew he was going there. I saw the original trailer.
Right.
They show him waking up in Japan and everything. And I'm like, what are they going to do to get him to go there? And I thought they would do some bullshit like where, because what happened with Robbie McGill, like Daniel needs to do a soul searching. And that's a little ridiculous. His wife be like, really? Are you fucking kidding? We have like his main purpose to go there is to save his company.
Right. And it makes perfect sense because Japan manufactures a lot of cars. It all was set up really well. I agree.
Well, he had like an exclusive deal, or he gets a deal with this Doidona, which I don't know what there's. I don't know. I guess it's like a Kia. I have no idea. Were they? They're not trying to sound like another company. They're just
no. It does not sound at all like Toyota. Or,
what the hell's that? all I heard was Yugo, the Gremlin. And I was like, oh, it's a parody of the Gremlin. I get it.
Well, in the show, they try to make it seem like it's a company that somehow controls all the Japanese cars. Like
it's amazing, at least for his company and everything. And I do like it. It kind of shows like how when we talked about this so you can listen to our episode from last year, or middle last year. You can find it on our podcast. We talk about Cobra Kai season 1 and 2. And I brought up, even though like Johnny is like a little bit of Arrested Development, Daniel in a way has a little bit of Arrested Development too, because everything he does involves like everything he does as an adult is completely shaped by those years he was mentored and taught by Miyagi.
Yeah.
He is into cars and sells cars and fixes cars because Miyagi did that.
Right.
I don't think Miyagi sold cars. No, he fixed it. He fixed cars. He had them in his thing. Miyagi would do things with bonsai trees.
Yeah.
Daniel does things with bonsai trees. Now you can see the show is just doing that to like obviously remind you they're not good. If you remove all those elements, then Daniel's not like he's a character, but then the audience won't recognize who Daniel is at all. You need to have those things in there so we can be like, oh yeah, that's Daniel. Like, yeah, he's a parent and he has a nice house and he's got a car business, but it's all shaped by his adventures with Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah. And he never did resolve those conflicts he had as a kid.
No, none of them. I mean, he's like meditates and he's like Zen in a way, but he still has like, he's easily pulled back by Johnny. Like, any normal person should be like,
right.
The guy who antagonized in high school, you just be like, especially if you're in the position that Daniel's in, where you are this like
very
higher
successful.
up in your area. You're like one of like people come to you asking your advice. Like there's probably politicians that want to get like his endorsement. Like he's a standard name in the area.
Yeah.
And he's made a lot for himself. He's very successful. His kids are now the rich kids in the school.
Yeah.
And that's what, but he himself is arrested too. Johnny is arrested, and like what we know from him from the first movie. And it's kind of funny too, because Cobra Kai, which it's awesome that the show is mostly, especially season 1, focuses mostly on Johnny.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about it is that he's only in one Karate Kid movie. Now he shows up for a few minutes in Karate Kid too, but he's not part of the movie. He's after that first scene, he's completely removed from the movie, and he never comes back. He's not in Karate Kid 3 at all. And Daniel deals with Cobra Kai. He still has a conflict with Kreese and that guy,
right?
Silva, whatever his name is. So it's interesting to have Johnny. That first movie, to the majority of people, that movie means more than the other.
Oh yeah,
and
for me, I really liked Karate Kid, the movie. I saw Karate Kid 2. I don't really recall anything about Karate Kid 2. I don't recall much of the other films. As far as I'm concerned, Karate Kid 1 was Karate. That was the franchise.
The second movie is like a weird, and this season focuses a bit, especially where we lead. There's the last 3 episodes, or I guess the last in the first episode 4 and 5 focus Daniel's in Japan.
Yeah, and
that's when he meets his ex-girlfriend. What's her name?
Oh, it's Yuki's daughter. I don't remember the.
Now I gotta pull up IMDb.
Well, I don't know. It wasn't Jenny, was it?
Isn't that Elizabeth Shue's character? No, that's Ali.
Oh, that's Ali. Yeah.
I was gonna say Ali.
Yeah, Ali. No, it was he went, geez, I don't remember the character's name at all.
Well, I'm gonna look up the cast right now, so you start talking about something else.
Yeah, well, it was the stuff in Japan did call back a lot of the Karate Kid 2 film. They did replay some of the Karate Kid 2 scenes, and they were terrible. They were really, really bad.
So like, I'll give them this. They could have did another movie, Kamiko.
Oh, okay.
That's her name.
Yeah.
And the other guy's Chosen.
Yep, he's the adversary, the
he's
villain.
He's the Japanese Johnny.
Yeah.
He really
exactly.
is. And they even make a funny reference, like in the end of the episode of 5, when him and we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
There's a scene when he's talking about, like, he's like, I'm glad I could resolve this rivalry or something. As I can't speak of like my others or whatever. And the Chosen's like, what? He's like, nah, don't worry about it. Like, he's just like, what are you talking about? And it's kind of funny. It's like, no. You see, you were just season 2.
Right.
I mean, you were the sequel villain. I have other villains. Believe it or not, you were just in the second movie of the Karate Kid trilogy.
Right.
I was, and not counting. And Daniel starts saying, I'm not going to count the 4th one because I wasn't.
Right.
Well, definitely not counting that shit with Will Smith's son.
Yeah. It's funny in a weird sort of way. That's like the whole premise of the show is that there are other points of view. Like that's one of Daniel's problems, is that he only sees things from his point of view. And maybe Chosen only saw things from Chosen's point of view. But like the
Chosen like was able to kind of see through all that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he puts up like an act when he sees Johnny. Daniel for the beginning, kind of, but then like once he does that, they have like a practice fight duel or something.
Yeah. And
Chosen does this move that kind of fucks him up, where he like hits pressure points and makes Daniel like he can't move. And then he says a similar line that he says in the movie about like, because they were supposed to kill each other.
Yeah, like choose live or die or something.
Yeah, and then he does the honk thing to Daniel, and Daniel does the honk thing to Chosen. And the only reason why he did that to Chosen, when he was going to kill him, but Miyagi did the same thing to Kreese in the beginning of the movie when they have a conflict outside of the arena. Out of the high school, like Kreese is like beating up Johnny, like he's like, you suck or something and whatever.
Yeah,
and Miyagi kind of challenges him, but he kind of just stares, and Kreese keeps hitting car windows. That's why his hands are supposed to be fucked up. Actually,
jeez.
You notice like he holds his fingers weird and stuff. He actually has like some damage in his hands. Now I don't know if the actor himself has any arthritis, but the character is supposed to have like permanent nerve damage in his hands because he punched through glass trying to kill Miyagi, and he did it twice. That's really stupid. But Miyagi holds Kreese down and he does says the whole thing, but then he goes honk, and it's really weird. I don't understand it.
It took me very off guard.
Yeah, so Chosen does that. That's a callback to Karate Kid too.
All right.
But once Chosen does that, all of a sudden he's like Mr. Friendly and happy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't, it's weird. Like he was teaching Daniel what to do. And it's like, I guess he just wanted to like fuck with him a bit. I don't know. Or fuck with the audience.
It was that was another one of those scenes. There's a couple in the first 5 episodes where I had to stop for a second and wondered if I missed something, like when I watch these, one of the best things about the Cobra Kai series is episodes are only a half hour,
They're a little longer, just a note.
Yeah. Like
they on Netflix, they are a little longer because when they were on YouTube, I think YouTube, they kept them down to 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
when I watched 34.
When I watched it on YouTube, they were starting to show them for free. That's when like they announced they weren't going to do paid content anymore. And you just had to watch some commercials, and it wasn't too bad. But then I rewatched them on Netflix a year later. Yeah, they're a little longer which is fine. I don't think it's enough to like give more content and flesh out the story a little more without bloating it too much. Like, they're not making them 45 minutes or an hour long.
What I was gonna say is that like when I saw Chosen transition from being a grouchy, scary guy to being kind of a fun-loving, laid-back guy, I thought I'd missed something. I knew I hadn't because like the episodes are so short that there's not really a lot of time to get distracted with other things. I mean, it's all pretty much like you said. It's a to the point kind of proposition, but it was a real weird shift in that character. And I was initially confused a little bit.
Is it me or when he first showed up and his face was really grouchy, and the way he was carrying himself, and he was like in a Hawaiian shirt?
Yeah.
Did he not look like Gilbert Gottfried?
You said that. You texted that. That's funny. I did not think that at the time, but yes, it 100% looked like.
I'm sorry, but Chosen looked at times, depending on how he would sit or hold himself. He's an older man, this guy now. I mean, he's like 60. I mean, he was born in 59, so that makes 62.
Well, he looks much older than Daniel. And I got the impression they're supposed to be about the same age in the Karate Kid
he's
2.
Older than he's a little older. He's only a few years older than yeah, well, what's his face is really not. He stole the Fountain of Youth. I don't know if you knew that. Macho, that's why he's only done limited acting. He shows up in things over the years. The main reason is because he's been preserving himself in the blood of virgins. And
it's weird. I hear that for every year Scott Baio ages, Ralph Macchio regresses a year.
Yeah,
it's even more handsome. Yeah,
he gains a year from Scott Baio.
Right.
He steals that. Like, thank you, MAGA chud. Who knows? Maybe Ralph Macchio is. I have no idea. But I was waiting for him to come in and be like, LaRusso! And like whatever Gilbert Gottfried jokes are, I don't know. But
yeah,
for a second, I was like, man, he just. I mean, it's funny because he's not as threatening look. Like in Karate, listen, Karate Kid 2, like regardless of what he does, like that, he's good in it. That guy.
No, yeah,
he plays a much more threatening villain. I haven't seen this movie in like 30 years. For all I know, it's complete trash. It probably is. But he plays a much more aggressive, much more threatening villain than Johnny is.
Yeah.
Like, Johnny's a bully, but Chosen was like, it was like something different.
Yeah.
It was like Daniel's an outsider, and Daniel's also trying to come in and take a girl. It's the same. Like, it's funny. They were like, okay, how do we kind of do the same fucking plot from Karate Kid 1, but do it differently enough that the audience thinks they're getting something, getting fresh content. They're like, I have an idea. We'll put it in Karate Kid. We'll bring him to Japan. We'll bring a bunch of stuff about Miyagi and his past, and but will basically be the same fucking story.
Yeah, it is weird. It's like I'm not saying that they did this on purpose, but like a lot of the stuff that works for this show on like a deeper level is this idea that all this shit happens over and over again, and the same dramas play out in father and son and father and son and teacher and student and mentor and mentee and whatever. And it's like they're all trying to like break out of that dynamic. Like Johnny's big goal is to not his real goal, like he doesn't think it is, but like the character's goal is to like escape that cycle, right? Like,
well, in the first season, it's like he's going nowhere, he has nothing, but then it's like the joke of the first season, it ends up mirroring the first Karate Kid. Johnny is Miyagi. He's a bizarre drunk hobo Miyagi. Like, but Miguel is basically Daniel. I mean, and I'm not going to ruin anything, so save it for the end. Watch those last episodes. There's some good stuff with Miguel and everything. I'm not going to. Cool. You haven't gotten to that point, and we'll circle back to that. But through Miguel, Johnny sees an opportunity in his life to improve himself, and he opens up Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And Daniel's main objective is to just stop Cobra Kai from even existing. Like, it's bad news. I'm Miyagi. We're the good guys. We're always the good guys. I think, do they say that in this season? Did you get to that point where the daughter says, I thought we were the good guys? And Daniel's like, well, we try to be. We intend to be good.
I don't know if it's the same scene you're referencing, because it's not quite that clear, but Sam does. Where you're talking about Sam, where Sam is like,
there's the daughter.
Yeah.
Daniel's, yeah.
Right. There is a scene in there where she's like, we're supposed to be the good guys.
Yeah. That's in season 3.
Right. Yeah.
And Daniel says, well, we intend to.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, we're not, no one's 100% pure, but we make an effort to be the good guys, or so he thinks he is.
Yeah. It's almost like, he gives himself a pass for trying,
So
like
in season 1, the joke is Daniel ends up kind of becoming a little bit of a villain.
Oh yeah.
He prevents Johnny from improving his life in any way whatsoever with his spite. It's like
early in season 1, or actually even midway through season 1, Daniel seems like a straight up villain. He tried to shut down Cobra Kai, and in doing so, like, carelessly destroyed a bunch of other businesses, and he had like these. I mean, he was a pretty
stupid cousin who is back in this season. He's a funny character. I actually do like his character, but he's obnoxious in the first season. That's like the bikers, and they like light up Johnny's car. It's like really ridiculous, but it's like it's becoming out of control. Daniel pulls himself back in the end of the season by like training Robbie, Johnny's son, and then season 2. It's like so by the end of season 1, it almost like flips back, and now like Johnny's Cobra Kai and Daniel is because like he gets Miguel to do something nasty to Robbie, like in their fight. Yeah. And I always love that when like Daniel's about to mirror the Miyagi thing where he like slaps his hand.
Yeah.
And you think he's about to do something, but then he's like, "Oh, let me go get a medic." You know, and who knows? Maybe that's probably what Miyagi did. But in the movie, he did some magical Asian stuff.
Yeah, he like warmed up his hands and
magical something from the Far East. You know, something. Nothing racist about it. Nothing, you know, not saying that that a whole ethnicity in this world has magical
mystical
powers.
People. Yeah. Well, it is. I guess we can go back to the beginning. It was the deck keeps getting reshuffled and the characters keep getting flipped, and at times it seems like Johnny's a good guy, and then it seems like maybe he's kind of not the greatest guy, and Daniel kind of goes from a bad guy to a good guy, and then he kind of it's an
Daniel's never really a bad guy. It's kind of funny. He always sees himself as the good guy. So yeah, the audience can perceive him as a bad guy in a way, you know. His like over eagerness to be good, or what he thinks is good, ends up like you said, rooting people's lives in a way. So season 3, Johnny's back to the beginning, like almost back to the way he was, if not worse than he was when you first see him in season 1.
Yeah, in
the beginning, and he's like drinking in like Applebee's or something. I love the cop says to him, "What's with you and shitty chain restaurants?"
It's the Applebee's guy again. What's this?
I love that. What's with you and shitty chain restaurants? And he gets into a fight with these guys in the the parking lot.
Yeah,
and he even punches a window. I do love when he tries to visit Miguel, and he like, he can't go back there. And at best is like he steals like a doctor's thing, and it's like he can't pass for a doctor. It's like really funny, like how he's able to like he slams his head into it.
Yeah, it's funny because like a lot of it's real sitcom-y, like almost like I Love Lucy kind of stuff. But
they
it's
put
like
his character in the silliest things. Oh, I did want to say one thing though, since I know we'll circle back to Chosen, but when Chosen's like, when Daniel's like, well, I wish I could like resolve my other rivalries.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He's like, I don't worry about it. It made me think of like, you watch Seinfeld, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember there was an episode where Seinfeld has a Summer George?
Oh yeah.
Kid, and he went to camp.
Yeah.
He had Summer George,
right?
And George was like, "What?" And then he meets Summer George, and it just reminded me of that. That's what I thought of.
That's
I was
funny.
thinking of like the Seinfeld episode, and like, will Chosen ever meet Johnny? No, there's no need to. I don't. I think we've seen enough Chosen. I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
I don't see a reason for his character to come back.
No, that character clearly seemed like it was there for a reason, like they need him for the scene, and then that's it. He doesn't really,
and he gives Daniel a teachable moment. Now, unless in like Karate Kid season 10 or Cobra Kai season 10, not Karate Kid, Cobra Kai season 10, they do like an Avengers Endgame scene,
right?
And then like one of the Karate Kids like opens a portal, and then Chosen comes through with Miko. That would be sick.
Yeah, I
don't think that's going to happen though.
I could see them having like towards the end of the series having, Daniel open up. He gets out of the car business and he opens up a chain of dojos, and they have one in Okinawa that Chosen runs or so. Sure, whatever. But as far as like the actual nuts and bolts of the story goes, they don't need Chosen anymore.
No, they don't need the Japanese thing served the Japan part served a purpose.
Yep. It was a good one.
He had to get his business back because of all the stuff that happened in the school.
Yeah,
his business started to hurt. That's another part of the plot. His business starts to hurt. He's losing customers because they don't want to deal with him because they think he's like his daughter and everyone else. Like he's the reason why kids got beat up.
Yeah. Well, at first I was like, that's kind of unrealistic. And then I thought about it and I was like,
no,
really.
It's totally realistic. I mean, first of all, the idea that there was a karate brawl in the school is completely insane. But I do like how they cover like, well, the teachers can't touch the kids.
Right.
And then someone brought up, well, what about that Stingray guy? And then someone's like, well, I want to make a point and say that that guy did not work for the school. And he's not allowed 500 feet in front of kids. And I thought that was a great way to write him out. Like, I like the Stingray character.
Yeah.
He's a very ridiculous, stupid character. The whole concept is silly. And
Right.
they did a good job of writing him out. That actor has become pretty big. He's been in a lot of movies lately. He's been in a lot of Spike Lee movies. His career is kind of going in a different direction, and I don't think his character needs to come back. And when you watch full season 3, you won't even remember who the Stingray is. So I really like how the other throwaway line to write this character out was just to say, he didn't work for the school. Let me make that clear.
Right.
And he's not allowed 500 feet in front of kids. And that's perfect.
You know who yeah, that was a good. I appreciate when shows wrap up a loose end without. They just wrap it up. They're like, okay, hey, something's going to change. Here's the reason, and back to the show. But that Aisha was not in this season.
Yeah, I watched something about it. I don't like it. Almost sounded a little too rumorish of like why she wasn't on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I know that in the show they explain it. They said her parents moved her to another school because of the karate brawls. But that's clearly like just something. I mean, that character didn't need to leave.
And they brought back the blonde girl from the first season, Sam's like bitchy friend. There was like Sam's the whole thing that triggered the plot of the first season is Sam's in a car with these girls and they crash into Johnny's car.
Right, yeah. I forgot about that, yeah.
And then you find out Sam is the daughter of Daniel. She's like starts the plot. And she started hanging out with like shittier kids. Like she wasn't friends with Aisha really anymore.
Right.
But that girl's back and it's kind of funny. And again, I won't say anything. There's more later on.
She's good, but it was weird that girl, it's like, I don't want to get like all weird about it, but like
you can find like shit on YouTube about it. Like, I don't know. I think there was some personal shit and that's why she's not on the show.
That makes the most sense.
I think she did some stuff in her personal life that was like problematic to the show.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, like I don't know. You could look it up. Like someone like it was like on YouTube. It was like this. They were talking about like where's this character? And I was like, where is she? And she might come back. There might be room, but I think she just did some weird shit. Supposedly this actress, and outside of the show, that like I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. Look it up at your own. But there is a clear. I don't think they just wrote her out for no reason. She was one of the major characters. She was the second student in the Cobra Kai.
Yep.
I felt like her character was kind of starting to fall in the background in the second season. Like she was there, but she never was like. It's weird. Like she was always this like really nice girl, and she gets like confidence and like she gives that blonde girl like a wedgie and shit, and like
they even mentioned that in this season. They call her front wedgie.
And then the second season, like the actress, like you could tell the actress first of all lost like a ton of freaking weight, and like I don't know, her character just kind of like she was part of Cobra Kai, but she's supposed to be this like really nice girl, and they didn't. I don't know. They brought in that other girl who was like the real mean girl.
Yeah, Peyton List.
And her character's almost like cartoonishly bullying.
Yeah.
And she's so like shitty that it made the other girl like kind of just completely in the background. So when you watch season 3, it sucks. You're not really gonna miss her. You're gonna be like, where'd she go? But by the time it shows up, which is kind of fucked up when you think about it, because it means it kind of almost do that with any of these kids in a way, with Miguel and Robbie and Sam. Like,
right.
I don't know. I would hope. I mean, just for the actress' sake and whatever. I think they should bring her back. It was only one season. They brought back They brought back characters from the first season.
Yeah.
That didn't show up in the second season. They brought back the cousin. They brought back the girl that you said they were calling front wedgie.
Yep.
She wasn't in the second season.
That's right. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. So like I said, the first episode, Robbie's in a coma the whole time, but Johnny, I guess, I don't know, showing up helps him like wake up in the end of the episode.
It seems it, yeah.
What other big events happened in the end of the first episode? Like Daniel,
well,
Sam doesn't want to go back to the school.
Right. Yeah, you find out that Sam basically has post-traumatic stress or something.
Which is weird because
like
I said my wife and I were watching, and I said, like, I don't know why she's so scared of Peyton. Is that her name? Her character?
Well, no, the character I think is Tori.
Yeah, why she's so scared? Tori, she kicked the shit out of her in the end.
Yeah.
Like,
none of that makes any sense. Like
I mean, listen, I could get it. I mean, this girl, yeah, she saved her life. She saved herself and beat Tori in the end, but Tori could have killed her. Like, she had that thing, and she left like a permanent scar on her arm, so it kind of a constant reminder. So I don't know. It's like even though she has these like really good karate abilities, she's kind of like a sheltered girl. So I could see why she could be kind of afraid. Tori's like the type of person who clearly has less and will do more to like fight for it in a more aggressive way.
I think too, they show flashbacks. They show her having flashbacks of Miguel getting hurt. And
she feels responsible.
Right. And she also isn't she the one who like did she cheat on Miguel?
She basically cheated on Miguel, and then Miguel started dating Tori. It was all this stupid high school shit.
So I think that's the rationale.
So she's like super guilty on top of the fact that she got hurt and
like she almost caused Miguel to get hurt. So it's a little overplayed. I don't like that plot development, but it's not a terrible one.
Like everybody like kind of overcomes their like bullies or stuff in the the second season in their fights.
Yeah.
Like what's that? The real skinny dorky kid.
Are you talking about Hawk, or what is his name? Dimitri,
yeah. Like he overcomes Hawk, kicks him into the glass, but Hawk's still like the alpha bully. Everyone's still like, even though they got their asses handed to them in the season 2 ending, they still are like in their positions of bullying. But those kids they could stick up to themselves more. I don't know. I guess they don't learn.
Well, the other big thing that happens at the end of season at the end of episode 1 is, if I remember right, Daniel's cousin calls Daniel and Amanda into the office and says, "Hey, I've been working the inventory. We're missing a car." And they realize, oh shit, it's Robbie stole the car and he's on the run. And then the cousin's like, well, we have transponders in all the cars, we can track them. And so that kind of launches the season. Like, now we got to go find Robbie.
Yeah, so let's just get into the second episode. I'm sure we're missing some stuff from the first, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to full recap. Second episode I thought was one of the best episodes of the first 5, actually. I like you get these weird it's weird first because you're not used to it in the show. You get flashbacks to Kreese. It's 1965. And the funny thing is, this actor and everything is 73 years old. I always find it funny that they fight this guy and everything.
Right.
This guy's a senior citizen.
It would be elder abuse. You would go to jail for fighting.
And I'm not going to ruin anything. There's some funny shit in like the next.
Okay.
Because in the end of episode 5, the wife shows up, smacks him.
Yes. So that's the last scene of
funny shit that happens after. This guy is a great character. He's definitely one of the best characters. I'm glad that they brought him back in season 2. And you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you can see them definitely making him a better character. I don't mean like a better, like good, but like there's a lot more depth to him.
Right.
Now.
He's so cartoonish. Like in the movie, he's like this just no mercy. He's like this is ridiculous, like villainous character, just like he was like kind of cartoonish, and to see him in this show and he shows up and he's like this old man, you feel bad for the character in season 2, but then it's revealed that he is a manipulative piece of shit. And, but so in this season you get some flashbacks of the character,
which confused me at first. I mean, it is very logical.
You're easily confused.
I was with this one. I hit pause and I rewound it, and I was like, oh, okay. But I don't know how I missed it, but like, yeah. So you got some Kreese flashbacks.
And they could have done something that would have been super lame, where Kreese runs into a younger Miyagi.
Oh yeah, that would have been, yeah.
Kind of glad they don't do that. You know, they do show some like flashbacks of Miyagi with footage from the original movies.
Yep.
So you get to see Kreese. He's working in a diner, and he's dealing with like the douchebag jocks and everything. And this is such a good scene. It's like you root for this character.
Yeah.
And he beats up the jocks, saves the girl. He looks like you're watching Captain America, the movie.
Oh yeah.
When he's in the 40s in that one, and he's like his lips all bloody and everything.
Yep.
And it's so good. Like,
and he's trying to rescue that giant-headed girl. It's real.
She looked like she had a giant head. I think it was more just how her hair sat, Joseph.
She looked like a space alien.
I don't think they got an actress that's had water in her head. I thought
that at the end of that scene, it was going to be revealed that the entire thing had taken place in Roswell, and that she was actually a space alien.
Right. I was thinking it was going to be that MTV cartoon, The Head. Remember that cartoon?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Where there was an alien living inside the guy's head.
Yeah. Gosh, that was a while ago. Yeah,
that was a while ago. It's amazing how shows that like they still make them. It doesn't feel like a while ago. Like, you know, like fucking Simpsons. Like,
right.
Me and my son rewatched the first episode, the one where they get Santa's little
helper. Yeah.
And my God, it's like every time I see it, it just gets older and older, because it is getting older and older. Yeah. It is over 30 years old. But it doesn't feel as old because they still make them.
Right.
Like
right.
But The Head, they made like, I think 1 season, maybe 2 at most. It's like a forgotten show from like the 90s almost.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so much older than The Simpsons because you don't.
But you're right. They were making Simpsons at the same time they were making The Head.
Yeah. And The Simpsons was already considered a older show.
Right. They were making The Simpsons before they made like The Max or.
The what?
The Max. Do you remember The Max?
Oh yeah, that was based on an Image comic character. Yeah.
Oh. Well, anyway.
Yeah, she did appear to have a large head, but no, Joseph, she was a normally proportioned human female.
Well, maybe she had a normal head, but perhaps a very, very small body.
I think her hair just increased the volume of the size of the head.
Could be.
I think you need to leave this poor actress alone. Very pretty, and it's just stop bullying this woman.
No, I think it was
you're just like that football player. And you're wearing a Letterman jacket right now, which is really odd.
And I am crushing beer cans on my head. You can't see it, but
ripping bus boys at diners.
Yeah, no, it probably was the camera angle, and she had like a bouffant hairdo kind of.
Yes.
Well,
and she had a massive head. Okay, so
I don't want to get ahead of myself here.
Heads up. Well, let's get ahead of the scene. And all right, so I love these flashbacks. Like, it just gives them, and then like this is where they bring Tori back into the series. Yep. You knew that her life kind of like of course she's gonna hate Sam. Sam's this rich kid, and like Tori's like a sick mom, and she's got a brother she's gotta take care of. Like, she has
Tori is essentially Daniel from Karate Kid 1.
Yeah, but like mean and like with bad teachers. Like, it's funny because Johnny doesn't create Tori. Johnny has the school already, and Johnny, like, Cobra Kai is starting to grow. It grows after Miguel wins in his first season. Everyone wants to come to Cobra Kai, and Cobra Kai becomes this huge thing, and everybody's showing up there. And that's when she shows up. So she's not a product. She was already kind of like her own thing.
Yeah.
And she's more in line with Kreese. So she's in her apartment, the shitty, I don't know, whatever he is, superintendent, guy collects checks. Of course, he's a pig, and he's like, if you fuck me,
he basically
give you a discount on your rent.
He doesn't say that right up front, but then when Kreese comes around, he says that pretty clearly, like.
And then Kreese pulls out his cigar cutter.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh my God, is he going to, he doesn't, but he made an arrangement.
I thought he was, but yeah, he didn't.
And it's cool because it's like this character, you're showing this character to be this like just an abusive, manipulative asshole. And he is. There is they make him more human. He's more of by showing his flashbacks of what created him, and like, he goes to war. Obviously, he never really comes back.
Yeah.
You find out some other shit that kind of creates character. When you meet the character, his mom killed herself.
Yeah.
So because that guy said something to him. So he's kind of like people will say mean shit to him. He talks about that in the episode too. He said, well, my mom was sick as well, but a different kind of sick. Right. So there's like this grandfatherly or fatherly that he has with Tori. And it's a good, I thought it was like one of the best episodes because it adds like an element. It's like, Kreese is a villain, and Tori's definitely a villainish character, but it's cool because it adds more depth and layers. And that's why, like, I'm glad that this is a show. It's kind of like when we talk about The Mandalorian. I'm glad. I think shows for this type of stuff is the way to go with this type of content, because when you do a movie, you feel like you got to meet all those notes. Because it's really all about collecting those box office dollars, and you got to meet every moment of them to collect those box office dollars. So karate, if they did a Cobra Kai movie, they would basically in the end just make a copy of the first movie. Yeah,
they couldn't sustain.
You can say that the first season of the show was a copy of the first movie, but it's done so well, and they add so many different elements because they have breathing room in it being a show, a 10-part series, that you get a much more satisfying story. Yeah. Even though in the end you pretty much watched the first Karate Kid.
Right. Well, they're allowed for with the running time. Like they have like 5 hours probably of show in the first season, and 5 hours, or so. They can alternate between being like kind of a clever throwback and being a new show and showing different. I mean, they can do a lot of stuff with those 5 hours.
And what I do like about the show a lot too is that the individual, like, and we've talked about this, Netflix and something. When you're watching these shows on Netflix, like streaming shows, they kind of bleed into each other a lot.
Sure.
But I thought with this season so far, that was like my fear. I was like, oh, this is just going to bleed together. But no, I felt like each episode had like their own thing, like the fact that the whole Kreese storyline, and then you also get another Johnny teams up with Daniel.
Oh, so
they're cops in this episode. Yeah. They're or Tango and Cash, which I thought was great.
Good that reference. Was such a great the Amanda, and the Amanda character is really, really good, and she could have Daniel's wife. Yeah, she could have just been a one-note character, but she so often is like the comic relief, and she's the one. Well, you even said this in our last episode about the show. She's the one that kind of gives Daniel shit for being like still a teenager, in his head.
She's also like the
adult.
She's the adult, but she's also they call the Greek chorus.
Yeah,
you know what that is?
Yep. Yeah, she speaks to the audience, kind of explaining what's going on. The audience has an affinity for her. Is that kind of what you're saying? Or
yeah. She also like brings things back to reality.
Yep.
Like anytime there's like a stupid feud, or like, oh, you're having another battle with your high school rival, like it's like when she says that, it's like that is exactly it, and it does sound just as ridiculous as you said.
Yeah,
like that's really funny. Like, but she gets, and I don't want to ruin too much, but you already kind of saw that, especially with her showing up because Daniel's in Japan.
Yeah,
she shows up in episode 5 and smacks Kreese. It's like she's getting more involved now with the bullshit stuff that Daniel has.
Well, she even says, like in episode 2 or 3 or something, she talks about like, ever since you've been doing Miyagi, Daniel, I run the car company now. I run the car show, the car sales, and you can see that her character is becoming more and more kind of involved in the day-to-day stuff. And you're right, she's getting more sucked into.
But because the karate shit started to affect her job and affect her kids, and so it's almost like she has no choice. Of course, she's gonna get sucked into this stuff. It's like,
yeah,
she can't really look in the outside anymore like she was, and just make like a little joke and be like, yeah, okay, you ever gonna fight with your high school friend? Okay,
but she is still
5-year-old man.
She's super funny, and often she's what makes the scene work, like in a weird sort of way. I could just see the writers or the director trying to like have a scene work, and they're like, well, we need and they put her in it, and it seems to be a good.
Which again, it's like bringing things back to reality, like the stuff, like it can get very ridiculous. The whole concept of it is silly. That's why, like in the beginning with the school, when people were like, "What the fuck is going on here? Why is there
karate fights?"
Yeah, what the fuck? This is like a suburb and like outside of LA. Like, why is this happening? This is so stupid. I love in episode 2, like him and Johnny go on a cop show, and they're trying to investigate because they're trying to find Robbie. I love when like Johnny's like eating corn nuts, and like he drops in and he's like, Daniel's like, I'm gonna be fighting those in my car for the next like 6 years. And he is right.
True. Yeah.
Right.
I've had corn nuts on a long distance trip before. Those things are they'll embed themselves.
I do love though when he goes to like a gas station, one of the best lines, and Johnny's like, "What are you, too good for gas station food?" And Daniel's like,
"Yes.
Yeah, I think I am." I was like, that's not a bad thing, but I think they haven't been to good gas stations.
They haven't been to a Buc-ee's.
They haven't been to a Buc-ee's. They haven't been to
Wawa.
Some really good like taco trucks. Sometimes part of gas station.
Oh yeah.
I think it's fine.
Well,
sit back and
the
haven't been to a Wawa.
The second episode is basically Daniel and Johnny trying to go find Robbie. You also see Johnny trying to kind of reconcile with Miguel, and you do get a kind of a weird note. I guess the mother, Johnny's ex-partner and Robbie's
she's
mom,
in rehab,
and she looks great. She used to be kind of a pathetic character, and in rehab she looks like she's got her shit together.
And I guess she's been in talks with Daniel in the background.
Seems like it.
On.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, again, Daniel in the end is a well-meaning character.
Yeah.
Robbie was living there, so I guess as Robbie was there, he was probably trying to like resolve things with the mom in a way. I don't know if he's paying for her to be there. I'm almost like, is he?
I got the impression, because they did go out of their way to say that it's a really nice rehab facility, and they make it clear it is. And the mom did not have any money, so
no, she was basically sort of a prostitute.
Yeah, I would say
yeah.
I don't think Daniel paid for it, but like, I wondered if maybe the Ed Asner character had something to do with that. Like,
I doubt it. Yeah, they brought him back.
That was the one thing that kind of fell flat for me. Is like when we met Ed Asner in season 1, he was clearly a dick. He was clearly a jerk, but he went way out of his way to say, like, I never walked out on you. I was always here. And you got the impression that he was like just on the cusp of maybe coming around and rooting for Johnny. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the way I read it in the first season, that Ed Asner was a dick and kind of a jerk, but like, he did say he was always there for Johnny. He never left, XYZ. Season 3, the Ed Asner character is a raging, throbbing dick.
He's only there for a little bit. The fact that Ed Asner is still alive is pretty amazing.
Yeah. It is weird.
Early 90s, which is good. He's still
I heard
early
on
90s.
the news today that Hank Aaron is still alive.
Hank Aaron?
Yeah.
What?
Hank Aaron, the baseball player, is still alive.
He's not the first African American in baseball, Major League Baseball. Like, no, he's not. No,
you're thinking of Jackie Robinson, but
yes.
Hank Aaron, he got his coronavirus shot today. He's
still alive. What is he, like 100?
He's 86.
Oh, that's it. What year did he play baseball? I feel like he played baseball in like
1902 or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he played. I feel like he was playing baseball when they still painted the baseball.
I was listening to the news and they're talking about, like Hank Aaron got his coronavirus shot today to encourage other people in the community, and I was like, what the fuck, Hank Aaron's still alive?
He played baseball in the 18th century. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
Well,
he's only 86.
He played baseball in, let me see, I got it right here.
What did he play, in the late 50s or something?
Early 50s, 1952 he started.
Probably young.
I don't know.
I bet he was like,
that's 70 years ago.
I know, but I bet you he was probably like in his late teens.
Well, if he's 86, he would have been 17 years old.
I bet you he started playing back at that time.
Jeez, man. Anyway. So
well, you learned something new. So yeah, Ed Asner's in the scene, and yeah, it's weird. They just kind of have him in there because, like, and the whole reason he's there is just that Johnny, they're gonna do the surgery for Miguel to get him to walk, and they need because Johnny Miguel wakes up in the end of the first episode. He's out of the coma, and they're talking about like, well, if he's in any longer, they're gonna like basically pronounce him dead.
Right.
So he wakes up, but they say he's probably not going to be able to walk. They're going to do some surgery on him. Of course, it's a lot of money.
Yep.
And isn't their mom a nurse?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I would have, because they lived in kind of a crappy apartment and I would have guessed she's like more of a home health aide type of person, they don't make very much money. But I don't know. Maybe she was a nurse.
So he needs to, and that's when he goes to the the pawn shop. That guy was in the first season. I think he was in the second season, that guy. And he's basically saying to him, like, well, the guy's like, well, I own a lot of pawn shops.
Right.
And Johnny's trying to sell it back to him. It's like really ridiculous. Come on, man. It's basically like, and the guy's like, no, why am I going to buy this stuff from you? Then that's when he tells him that he just needs to plug in his computer.
Yeah.
So he decided, and then he goes and visits his friend from Cobra Kai. I'm not from his old friend.
Yeah.
One of the Cobra Kai guys from the original movie. And he's a
preacher.
He's a preacher. I'm assuming he's a pastor and it's his church. He keeps calling him a priest, and he's like, I keep telling you I'm not a priest.
Yeah. He's not a Catholic priest. He's a charismatic preacher.
I would say wouldn't he be considered a pastor? Because it's his church. Like a priest doesn't own a church.
I grew up in the Lutheran tradition. That's like the church we went to when I was a kid, and they were called pastors. And you could have a girl pastor or a boy pastor, or they got married. Like they're more like the keeper of that individual church.
Yeah, that's what he is, I thought.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I looked it up. I'm like, well, what is the difference? I don't know. Just Gilliam shit. So, and yeah, that was it. And he's like, well, I don't have any money to give you. We're putting a roof up, basically. Yeah. Whatever. It's like, listen, I'm trying to steal as much money from my from my flock. So.
Yes.
So that's when he goes to his dad, and his dad like basically tells him to fuck off. His stepdad.
Yeah, but like aggressively so.
Well, he is pretty brutal to him in the first season too. Like, he said like I was always there for you, but like, he can't get over like how shitty he was. He never felt like he was his parent, really.
Yeah. I guess that's the only thing is that like I got a much different vibe from Ed Asner this season than I did.
I just think he wasn't in it. That he was just in it for like one little plot device, and they didn't do enough to flesh him out. So he just sounds like a prick. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to give you any money. I gave you money last time, and you're going to come back and fuck up." So he's all fucked up looking, and he's trying to get money from him. So I'm not defending I'm just saying.
Oh, like, no,
it was such a quick. But he takes that statue.
Yeah.
He takes a random statue, and it's like, I mean, whatever. It's a plot device. He uses it to get the money to pay for the surgery.
Yeah.
And they announced that they were going to bring Allie back, and they said that when you watch the show, they drop little hints, and they were rumors how we're going to bring her back. And they're like, well, we flew in this doctor, and you see this woman from the back. She has long blonde hair.
Right.
And almost like, oh, okay, there was probably people who thought like, oh, she's going to be the doctor who works on Miguel's back. But no, thankfully they didn't do that because that's really stupid.
Well, I don't want to jump like too far ahead, but like in the last scene of episode 5, you see Allie's Facebook page, and she mentions in the top left-hand corner of the Facebook page something about being a doctor.
Oh, okay. So then that's probably why people will assume that was going to happen.
Yeah, although I would have to, because I haven't put all this together since then, but like when I first saw it, I paused it to kind of read it, and I thought it said something like, I wanted to be a doctor, but blah, blah, blah. And I assumed she was going to be something else. But yeah, that would make sense. So, but yeah, they do start dropping all these hints about Elizabeth Shue coming back to reprise that character. And I actually have heard, this isn't spoiling it for me or anything, I've heard it was pretty all over Twitter that she does return at some point. Like, I don't think that's...
I don't know.
Sure.
Even though I saw it for the last 5 episodes, I don't remember.
Yeah, well...
I have no idea what happens, because remember, I have a memory of a fly.
But they've been teasing
Crazy that I, who has a memory of a fly, can remember I have a memory of a fly.
They've been teasing this since, like, season 1.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say anything.
So. No, that she was out there in a character, and they made fun of her married name and stuff. So, I mean, that's kind of been an ongoing plot thread.
All right. So while that's happening,
yes,
we also find out, again, as in earlier, you find out the dealership's not doing well because of everything that went down with the karate shit at the school. There's backlash. So the guy who his like main competitor, this douchebag, who you saw, I don't remember him being in the second season. I know he's in the first season. He was giving away like how there would be a bonsai tree, he would give away something. Like he really hate Daniel in any way.
Right.
He's basically like, I'm gonna buy you out. And then the cousin's talking to that other guy who was kind of like his friend who ended up leaving working for that guy.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he was like their best salesman, the shorter one out of the two. The reason why he left, the main reason he left was because like Johnny came to like into the dealership and like manhandled him.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? Like, and he did exactly what a normal person would do. That's why it's funny, like how all this dumb shit from the movies come in, and it's like this is like Daniel's living in reality, and then the fantastical comes back with these ridiculous rivalries and stuff like that. So like he loses his best salesman because of his bullshit with his high school rival.
Yeah, it's very strange.
So that's like the main reason why he left the dealership. This guy, he comes back, the guy's a dick to him, the other dealership, he doesn't know his name and stuff. He basically tells the cousin, like, listen, the reason why this guy's trying to buy you out and everything is because he has the exclusive deal to the cars that you have.
Right. Yeah. It's like a business ending move for Daniel.
Yeah. It's like Daniel's like basically left with no choice.
Right.
So that's when Daniel realizes he has to go to Japan.
Yeah. Yeah. He's going to go try to solve the problem.
And that's when it ends with you see the towers in Tokyo and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And it like you said earlier, it feels real natural, not like, hey, let's get the gang and go to Japan.
Works together. Yeah. Instead of like, I thought originally it would just be like he goes on this like
spiritual journey.
Searching thing, but no,
I thought so too.
He's got to save his company, but then he's able to like take advantage of the situation and stay there like a day or two.
Right.
And have a reunion with Karate Kid too. But while that's happening too, there's some funny shit with like the Hawk and the other Cobra Kai shitheads and like Sam, and they're having their like kind of fights and stuff, and like I just love that that's the thing too. Like the teachers have this like lame. This is like one woman who's so lame. She's like institutes this like not a hugging policy. Oh, you should say the kids would hug each other.
Yeah, it's like
this really ridiculous, like unrealistic thing of like resolving problems.
Right.
And of course, Hawk knows how to play the part. Like he's all like, yeah, you know, you really got to take that macro
microaggressions. Yeah.
I didn't mean, and then I love it too because like, what's it? Dimitri's like showing like this Lego volcano thing, and that's that blonde girl's starting to like Dimitri a little bit.
Right, she was.
Yeah, and then Hawk kicks a ball and breaks it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ruin your toy."
Yeah,
it's such a good scene. Like the whole scene is really, like I said, this show is really funny sometimes.
It is. It is.
And I don't know if it gets classified as a comedy, but
I don't know what they call it.
Somebody did say like especially like the first season and everything, like it's almost like a comedy. I would say I don't know if I'd classify it as a comedy, but it's pretty damn funny sometimes.
It's very, very funny, but I think ultimately it's a drama because all of the weight of the show is on these pretty serious things. I mean, it's not like a drag serious, like, you know, you have to deeply think about it or anything, but like it tackles some pretty serious subjects, and it's a drama with comedy, with a lot of comedy.
Right. But there's some good stuff there. Then of course they have like a soccer game.
Yeah.
Like a fight. I love how they played the soccer game though. That was pretty funny.
That was funny.
So yeah, whatever. So Danielson's in Japan in the next episode.
Yeah, episode 4.
Yeah, Johnny's trying to teach Miguel how to get Miguel to walk. That's really awesome.
Yep. Yeah.
So episode 4, yeah. So he's in Japan. He gets rejected. Doidona.
Yeah, he goes to the boardroom and he puts on a good show, and the guy's like, "Look, I feel for you, but we've already made the decision. Nothing we can do." And the chief of Yoitoa, or what is it?
Doidona.
Anyway, they give and Daniel's on the phone with Amanda, and he's like, "Well, they're still saying no, but I'm not leaving until I get a yes." And he kind of gives it that can do, you know, G. Willikers type of thing, and he's going to stick around in Tokyo for a little while longer.
But then he ends up getting going to whatchamacallit instead.
Okinawa.
And that's when he visits the Miyagi dojo, and that's when he runs into what's her name again?
It's Yuki's daughter, and you've said Dayami, is it? Or
oh man, I did have this up just now.
I don't think I ever even knew her name in the show.
I'm pulling it up. Come on, I had you up. Oh, her name is Kamiko.
Okay.
I think so, right?
That's the planet where the clones were made, right?
Oh, that's Kamino.
Oh, okay. Different.
Oh, yeah, it's Kamiko.
Okay.
So she was the Japanese Elizabeth Shue.
Yes.
But unlike in the first movie, Johnny didn't have to fight to the death in her honor.
Right.
He just had to win a trophy. Kamiko, he literally, and then she says like that's them, like they meet, he sees her. First of all, he goes to the town, of course, and he's like, "What the hell happened? I just want to live in a village and pushing around carts, wheelbarrows." And I love the one lady's like, "No, this is great." Like, well, what do the villagers think? Like, they got jobs.
Well, it's funny. I
used to have a Subway. Now we have a Jersey Mike's.
Right, I just kept thinking of that Talking Heads song, "Nothing But Flowers." It's like, this was an open field, now it's a Pizza Hut. Like, it's like well, it's weird. There's like this, I read this book a long time ago, I think it's by Friedman, and it was like called The Lexus of the Olive Tree, and it's like how these towns, and he was talking about towns in Japan or whatever, you know, you're torn between the Lexus and the olive tree, like the tradition and the, you know, these groves of olive trees, and this is the way we've always done things, and also like, oh, or we could have Lexuses, you know, these awesome cars with roll-up windows and all that. It was a weird thing. Like, he completely misunderstood the thing. Is he wanted it to be like he remembered it, but the people that actually had to live there were like, no, this is progress. This is really good for all of us.
Yeah, we like running water.
Yeah, we're very happy.
Yeah, we can do things now. We could
Yes.
like we don't have to worry. We don't have to spend 90% of our day making one meal.
Exactly. I no longer have to walk uphill to get a pail of water.
Like, yeah, I don't have to milk an ox. Much as I love milking an ox. Wait, do you milk ox?
No, an ox is a boy, I think.
No, that's a bull. Isn't an ox like a breed?
I have no idea.
Okay, no, you don't milk bulls because if you milk
No.
a bull, you're actually fan servicing them.
Yeah.
You're giving that bull fan service.
And that's no bull. That's no bull.
See, I learned something on this podcast.
Well, yeah, but the point is, I guess, like that, like the point's a couple things. A, things have changed. B, that change is actually not scary. It's pretty good. It's pretty beneficial. And it's funny because
like we look at the outside and it's like it is like it's like somebody it's almost like, okay, this is gonna get like a little ridiculous, but like one of the arguments about global warming is like, well, you know, like, oh, we gotta tell these other countries not doing it. It's like, well, you know, some of these countries are just pulled out of like, you know, on a technological progress. And the funny thing is, they're actually, some of these countries are now like leaping forward and going beyond us because,
right.
But like, are you going to tell these countries they can't have the things we have?
Yeah.
This was I feel like this conversation was more like 10 years ago. We kind of surpassed that.
Yeah. Well,
but like, that was always like an argument. Now, I'm not saying it's an argument to not stop progress, but it is like a good point. Like, of course, it's easy for Daniel, who's like an outsider, and he goes and he's like, "Oh, I love Japan. The people,
right?
Everyone's like real here. Everyone's real." And they're all like, the people living there are all like, "Yeah, I kind of wouldn't mind if a Godiva store was here.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I wouldn't mind if a Starbucks was here. Actually, believe it or not, like we look at it because it's all over the place, and we're like, I want."
Right, an authentic.
I want an authentic. I need it to be made by a hipster. I want to pay $12 for the coffee instead of $6.
Yeah, well, it is. I don't think they're making a huge comment about consumerism, even though that is a super legitimate.
I don't think it's a thing on consumerism. I think it's more of just like this. Daniel was there when he was young.
Yep.
And it was almost like, and again, the movie's very fantasy like because it's like Daniel LaRusso's from just a boring town in California. You know, what's the town called again?
I think they just call it the Valley, right?
Sure. I think it's called what's the town in Lost Boys, San Dimas or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Or maybe I think that's Bill and Ted, because I think the guy says San Dimas High School Football Rules. That was his
okay, yeah.
Record or something. He says that, yeah. It's not really a consumerism thing. I just saying like it's like Daniel saw like with the villages. It's like, you know, this is real. This is like real culture and everything. And it's like,
yeah,
we want. And the funny thing was, even probably back then, that area was probably way more advanced than the movie.
Oh,
probably. The American audience. You know, this is like we grew up in the 80s, or you in the 1880s,
right? Yes.
But you know, me being in the 80s, like you were taught always that like America is great and all the other countries want American stuff, and they kind of do that a little bit in Karate Kid too. Like there's like a bar he goes to, and it's like I haven't seen the movie in so long, but I swear like it's like 50s like influence, and it's like Elvis and that stuff. It's like you're just getting it now. Yep. Like everyone, you know, we're so much more advanced in these cultures. You know, everyone wants that, and it's like you watch that in the 80s movies. Like you really are taught that. Like, you know, communism fell because of McDonald's. Right. You know, you ever hear that one?
Yeah, this is the Golden Arches theory. There's a theory that says that no two countries, both of which would have a McDonald's, have ever gone to war together. That's it. It's true. I mean, like there's like some weird corollary.
Want to piss off Ronald.
Yeah,
hey guys, don't fight.
Well, the idea is that like if you've grown to the point where you can have a McDonald's, which, to be honest, any human in the country can go to McDonald's with like $3 or $4 in their pocket, which you could easily get panhandling, and get like a burger and fries and a Coke and whatever and feel pretty good about yourself. If you get to that point where there's a McDonald's available, you won't go to war anymore. Only countries that don't have McDonald's go to war.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true. I feel
no,
like...
that's true. That's like, I don't think that's the reason. I don't think it's a...
So Iraq never had a McDonald's in it?
No.
Wow. Stupid Saddam, man.
Not
like, what if he like last minute was like, look, McDonald's. Like,
it's not a causative thing.
Sure.
Like, it's just a correlative thing. There's not like a
I'm
causative.
kidding, of course. George W. Bush like, send them back. Saying a mission does not need to be accomplished because they have a McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's why and it makes sense why Donald Trump wanted to start a war with countries too, because he loves McDonald's.
Loves those hamburgers.
Hamburgers. Hamburgers. Okay. Well, regardless, it's a funny scene. It's like they have a mall. It's modernized the area. But and he meets up with Kimiko and they have a talk. And I would imagine his wife would be very happy to see Daniel with his attractive girlfriend.
Yeah.
30 years ago. I think she would be very pleased, be like, oh, good, thank you. You're going to save the company, but you're having a kind of intimate moments with your...
It's weird. It is. They definitely sound... Look, there's a scene where they have Daniel and the woman clink glasses and their hands touch. And it's clearly meant to be a moment where you're like, oh, well, there's a spark there or something. They want you to think that.
It's interesting. It doesn't... I'm glad that they didn't do anything. I'm actually kind of glad they didn't go too far and do something stupid where they kiss and everything.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of dumb.
It's not in Daniel's nature. He's not a philanderer.
He really is just like this gee whiz type kid.
Yeah.
Like, he really is. He's just like...
Yeah. He might say, oh, you're real pretty and what if, but I'm married. I mean, he would...
Well, he makes a point to say that he has a wife and kids.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like, well, and even like Kimiko is like, I guess she got to travel the world. It's like she lived the whole life too. She didn't get married. Chosen didn't get married either.
Right.
I do like that when Chosen shows up and he's like, oh, yeah, no wife, no kids.
Yeah.
He just looks so mean, but I feel like he was doing a Yoda on him.
Yeah.
So she's like, I guess she was part of like a dance company and they travel the world. She's talking about seeing like the
Cranberries and Radiohead and
she lived the life and it's interesting too because she says like if we had social media back then, it would have been very different. We would have kept in touch. Yeah, right. But I just talk to all my Facebook friends.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, it's just like all the time. I know I'm a piece of shit. Okay. So listen, making cool I don't have time. I gotta make some cool tweets.
Yeah.
Spicy tweets don't come out of nowhere.
Hot takes don't grow on trees.
And that takes, every hot take. I can't have a great moment with someone I knew from high school.
They call them hot takes, not hot gives. That's what I say. That's what
it's too spicy that okay, so I do love the whole thing with Kimiko though. Like Chosen shows up. Well, she's talking about Miyagi, and he's starting to learn more about Miyagi too. He thought he knew everything about him.
Right.
And he learns on this trip that there's more to it than that. There was something he wasn't taught. And so it's like it furthers the adventure a little bit.
It is. And it's some good opportunity to recycle old footage of what is it, Morita? Is that what?
Yes, Pat Morita.
Yeah. It's good. It's a good callback to the original show.
I'm glad that the show, like, it's weird. Sometimes with movies and stuff, like, they're made by, like, different studios. They have a really hard time. Especially when it comes to, like, horror movies and shit.
Sure.
Very weird. Especially in, like, licensing. Like, you could have the license for, like, Child's Play 2.
Yeah.
You don't have the license to Child's Play 1.
Right. Yeah.
Very strange. You're like, well, I got Chucky. it's a little different.
Right.
So I'm kind of glad the show was able to like, it has all the content.
They make good use of it too.
Like,
yeah.
It has the 3 movies, I think. I'm pretty sure they showed a clip from 3 a little bit. When he was talking about his time in Cobra Kai.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm glad they have that. It makes the series a little more like complete, and like I'm glad they came prepared. They didn't like, oh shit, we got to like fight with Universal to get like a minute clip. Now that the show's popular, they don't want to give it to us for free.
Well, they do make good use of it, and they end that episode in Japan does a whole bunch. And one of the weird things is that another character from Karate Kid 2 shows up, the little girl Daniel saved from a typhoon.
Well, they talk about in the first, when you meet Kamiko for the first time again in 30 years.
Yeah.
She talks about when you do good things, the universe, and I'm gonna butcher this. I think she says if you do something good for somebody, someone will come and do something good for you. That's why I randomly just go up to people, just give people $1.
Right. Hey, pay it forward.
Pay it forward, and you know what? Maybe he'll come back.
Yeah.
And I'll get $1. I don't know, or whatever. You gotta figure it out. Now, yeah, she brings that up, and that kind of pays it. Now, obviously, we talked about the thing with Chosen already. With I do love the whole thing. Chosen shows up. It's like super awkward, and he like buys him a drink. He's like, "You will drink or something," and he's like, "No wife, no kids," and then like, "Oh, you're gonna have a drink?" "No, I don't drink."
It was super awkward.
And she's like, "Well, I'm gonna go now," and he's like, "What? Wait, you're gonna leave me with the guy that like wanted to murder me?" Like she's like, "Oh, I got errands to run. I can't. I gotta go. I'm gonna leave you with this guy."
I mean, clearly she's doing it on purpose because she's, setting all these things in motion. But that was a weird scene.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
And he's so miserable looking. This guy. Like,
oh yeah,
looking like Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah.
I thought it was strange when he did a whole Aristocrats routine.
Right.
I didn't see that coming. I thought that was weird. The Aristocrat.
Yeah.
Caruso. Then he said Affleck. I thought that was weird.
Oh yeah, he was the doc. That's right.
Fucking product placements in these fucking shows, man. Do you remember what happened to Gilbert Gottfried with the Affleck?
He did some. Oh, he made like tweets about that tsunami, I think.
Then they fired his ass because Affleck, I guess, their biggest customer base is Japan.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
To be honest, this joke was pretty funny.
It was pretty funny.
I think there's something to do with the school, and the school was like floating away.
Yeah, they were good, but like it's just wrong place, wrong time for him.
It cost him probably
a
good $1 million easily.
It was a duck load of money.
What? He was like, "What the duck?" All you had to do was say Affleck.
Yeah, that was the dream job.
Literally, yeah. All right, so.
The weird thing that resolves at the end of episode 4 is that the girl Daniel rescued from the typhoon in Karate Kid 2 turns out
that's actually episode 5, Joseph.
Oh, is that an episode? That's not an episode.
Yeah, that's the end of the So the Japanese
journey. Oh, you're right. He's still in Japan.
Is 4 and 5.
That's right.
And a girl that he rescued. Well, when he meets up with Kamiko again, Chosen takes him to the dojo. He's like basically tells Daniel, "You're an outsider. You can't have this stuff." Like, and he's almost like, "Well, I'm kind of like his adopted son in a way. He like tries to take this artwork or whatever. It's like got like fighting moves or something on it.
Right.
And he thought he inherited everything from Miyagi or something.
Right.
And because he has the house with the Miyagi dojo in the backyard from the movies. And that's when they do like their little fight, and that's when he teaches them like the pressure point thing, and that's when he does the honk thing. As they leave, it's like Chosen's character kind of like even though he got to move on from everything too,
right?
And he ended up becoming kind of like a stand-in for Miyagi in a way, like teaching him different moves. He told him something like, well, he was like, Miyagi's all about like defense or something. And the guy's like, I don't know, there's some bullshit or something. Like, that's why he always thinks Miyagi is good, the Miyagi school, because we're all about defense. We're not the offense, we're the defense.
Yeah.
And that's why he always, and then he's like trying to teach him, like, well, there's a wiggle room.
Gray area.
This is some lawyer shit right here. There's a way to do offense and call it defense. Like if I poke your eyes out, you can't attack me.
Right.
He doesn't say that.
No, but he's getting there.
So then Kimiko, he comes back after seeing Chosen, and Kimiko, there's this woman there, not a girl. She was a girl in Karate Kid too. There's a scene where like a typhoon or something comes, and the village is like basically it's a horrible storm, and he saves a girl's life. But I totally forgot this. They showed it in a flashback. They showed it from the movie in the episode.
Yeah.
He saves the girl.
Yep.
And then that's when Kimiko is like, well, you know, I said about doing good, the universe will pay back. This woman just happened to magically work for Doing Donut. And she's like, I'm going to save your company. Just like you saved me. Vice
President of Sales.
Is that what she was?
Yeah, she was like super high up in the company. Yeah.
She's like, let's just say I am I am what we call an ex machina.
Exactly. Yeah. God from the machine. That's what I am.
Yeah.
That's what I am.
What?
God from the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Deus ex machina. I think it means like God from the machine or something.
It's usually a writing device used where a character, literally the character shows up to do a thing.
Yeah.
To resolve a plot.
Save the day.
And you usually can't have that character do that again because then the story gets ruined.
Right. So, but she does it and she fulfills her role. And
that kind of gives a nice ending to 5. Now, there's other stuff that happens that was great. I mean, well, there's like, I guess this town only has like one amusement center that everybody.
Yeah, golf and stuff.
What?
I think it's called Golf and Stuff.
It's the place from the first movie. Yeah. And it's like that town has, like, all that town has is this one fucking place. It's the only place that kids can work at.
Yep.
And of course, the stupid Cobra Kai kids are causing problems.
Well, it is weird. Like, you see a lot of the stuff. Like, that's part of what I love about the show is that balance between the kids' world and the adults' world, and then where they intersect, because like they do intersect often and like in significant ways. But the kids are also doing their own shit all the time. You know, like the kids are doing stuff with like little rivalries, and they have little romances, and they have all this kind of shit that's going on in the periphery. And it's almost like it's echoes of what's going on in the adult's life. In fact, there's a scene, I think it's in episode 5, where you see Johnny. What is that in episode 5? You see the kids fighting. It's when Sam tries to gather up her kids and fight the Cobra Kai
at the like abandoned haunted house or something.
Yeah, and then that's interspersed with it's interspersed with Johnny and not Johnny. It's interspersed with Daniel and Chosen fighting.
Yeah.
And isn't Johnny fighting someone at the same time?
Johnny's trying, I thought, was trying to get Miguel to walk. And
that's right. Yeah.
He uses a Playboy magazine dangled on a fish hook, thinking that would get him to stand up.
And then he lights his shoes on fire.
Yep. And the guy really doesn't feel it. But then takes him to a concert.
Right.
D. Schneider. And I do like the part where I guess Johnny did this thing where he was like, it's a Make-A-Wish thing.
Yeah, he pretended that Miguel was dying, and that he didn't have long to live, and he got him into the rock concert. It was a fun scene. And I like
Daniel. I like D. Schneider tells the 3 girls standing by them, like,
yeah,
give that kid a blowjob or something. We're watching, and we're like,
but then you see,
they should be like, yeah, we're not doing that. Like, gotta listen to D. Schneider.
Through the power of rock, you see Miguel's foot start tapping.
Yep. I'm surprised they didn't do "We're Not Gonna Take It." I will give.
That must have been a contractual issue, you know.
They probably like, Dee's like, listen, if we're doing "We're Not Gonna Take It," you gotta pay me more.
Well, "I Wanna Rock" is like "We're Not Gonna Take It" is like,
that's the wrong context.
It's the wrong song, even though that's a much better song and more popular song. "I Wanna Rock" is still a pretty good song, and
it's still one of the best Twisted Sister songs.
Exactly. Of the
two I remember.
That is in the top 2.
I always love the video when the guy is telling the kid, "What are you gonna do with your life?"
That was Niedermeyer from Animal House.
That guy's been in like a bunch of stuff, and I always thought he was like a low budget Christopher Lloyd.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, like a little bit.
Well, so all of that's going on in 5, and I guess the other plot point that we haven't really talked about much is that Robbie.
Oh yeah, he's in a correctional facility.
Yeah, and he's been bullied by these guys, and at the end of episode 5, halfway through season 3, a lot of things kind of click into place, and you see.
Yeah, they do a good job. That you're right. They could have done it. Netflix wanted to. I guess they're not. They don't care. They're like, we have content constantly. We'd rather people sit there and watch like. We already got you. We'd rather you sit and watch like 5 hours in a row. We don't care if you come in week to week.
But a lot of stuff got resolved. Like you had, Robbie made peace with his bullies.
By fighting them and beating the shit out of them.
But then they didn't rat and he didn't rat, and you got the impression like, okay, things are going to be okay for him there.
Yeah.
And then Daniel solved the car problem, the car dealership problem, and you had Johnny. You had Miguel begin to get feeling back in his legs.
Yeah, I do love the Johnny trying. We talk about this Johnny's like list.
Yeah,
he writes like how to get. Well, it's funny, like Miguel's going on like physical therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Johnny really should not be.
No.
Like this poor kid just had like this very expensive surgery. And my favorite scene is like right in the beginning, the kid falls out of the bed.
Yeah, he keeps doing things and the kid keeps falling.
I love it. And he's like, "You felt like a champ."
Right.
It's like really fucking funny. But like, yeah, he's fallen so many times. I'm like, yeah, that's probably not good for back surgery. I would imagine a surgeon would be like,
what the fuck's happening?
It probably wouldn't be a good idea if you like never fall again. Like,
well, you get Miguel begin to get feeling back in his legs, and then you have a couple new things happen. You have Amanda confronting Kreese and slapping him, and you have Allie. Friend requesting Johnny.
Yep.
Which is
Johnny finally. No, she already requested it in the end of season 2, but Johnny threw his phone.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
From Miguel, that because Johnny is so clueless about everything. Johnny finds out that you can use Facebook on a computer as well.
Yes.
So that's when he opens up Facebook and he confirms the request to her.
Right. And
he sees it finally.
Right. So you have that happen, and you have Sam, I guess this is back in the unresolved column. You have Sam kind of acknowledging to her mom, like, I'm fucking useless. Like, I can't.
Yeah, Dimitri's arm gets broken by Hawk. Like,
right.
She could have stopped that. Like,
but she even started it. She's like, let's go.
But then Tori showed up.
Right. And then I stopped watching. Right. And so it felt like, oh, this is an awesome first half of the season.
Yeah, they did a good job of like really doing a good cut in half. 5 episodes. Like,
yeah, a lot of stuff was resolved, and a lot of stuff was like amplified, and some new things were introduced. So it seems like a really good natural stopping place to catch your breath, you know.
So before we wrap this up, there's some funny Johnny things. I like when he goes for the job interview.
Oh, that was good.
And the guy's like pretty much ready to hire him. And the guy's like, let me just ask, like, I got to ask you this.
You left the arrest thing blank.
Yeah. Like, have you whatever happened, and then Johnny explains everything about like beating up kids, but they did shit to deserve. And he's all pissed. He's like, "Come on, man, give me the job."
He's like, it felt really good to get all that off my chest. Yeah. So when do we start? And then the next thing you know, he's in the car, like, fucking, I'm unstable. Like, fucking.
And then the best is like when he goes to the nurse, or like when he's trying to see Miguel, and he goes to the nurse, and he's like, tells the nurse, "Come on, be a bad girl."
Right. I think one of my favorite parts is when he Googles how to fix legs or something, like how to walk
and then
again.
he writes the list, and the list just gets more ridiculous. Like Tommy, what's that guy's name?
Tom Robbins and stuff.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins, yeah.
Tony Robbins and LSD. Like, how do I get Miguel's legs to work? He's writing a list. He writes like a second grader. It's awesome.
And then he's on WebMD, and he's like, "Oh, okay, WebMD."
Yeah, I think he's awesome too. Like, he hits on women even when he's like,
he's
disgusting,
like
and they're just like repulsed by him.
He's like raising his eyebrows. Hey, like
it's funny because it's like I could see how somebody who liked the first season a lot and the second they watch this first 5 episodes, they might be like a little like, especially if it focuses on Daniel a lot. It focuses on a lot of characters.
Yeah.
So I could see how people would be annoyed and think Johnny gets pushed to the background a little bit.
Well, I'll say the pacing for the first episode, maybe first and half of the second episode, it started off a little wobbly for me. I think they really tried to go way out of their way to catch people up to speed. If you hadn't seen the first 2 seasons, it didn't get off. I have to admit, after the first episode, I was like, I don't know, am I going to love this? Very quickly, I started to love it, and
I just like the Tango and Cash episode.
Oh yeah,
when they finally do find the car, and they go to the garage.
Yeah,
and they just fight these guys.
Yeah,
it's really funny because it's so ridiculous. And then I love like how Daniel and Johnny turn on each other so quickly, and then they start fighting. It's so dumb. I was like, come on. I was like, man, we're just cracking up. I'm like, this is
so good.
It is. It's very good. You're gonna like the next 5 episodes.
Okay, I'm so excited. So we're going to. Oh, go ahead.
No, that's it. It just shows good. I like it.
It is. It's one of the most. I hate to use this word, but it's like it's a delightful show. I mean, like I get happy thinking about it.
If someone said to you, "We're gonna make a Karate Kid TV series," what would your thought be?
I'd be like, whatever.
It's probably gonna be terrible.
Yeah.
Or it's gonna be like mediocre at best.
Right.
And instead, they're like, "No, we're actually making a show called Cobra Kai."
Yeah, and it's like probably the best show I've seen with multiple seasons over the last couple of years.
It is. And again, like we stress, and we'll say this when we do part 2.
Yep.
It is everything that the Star Wars sequel movie series should have been.
Yeah.
Everything's there.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything is there. You could take the same fucking plots from Cobra Kai and put them into Star Wars.
Yeah.
Dimitri's now a 4-eyed alien.
Yep.
Tori
is now talking about
what?
Tori is now talking about tariffs.
She's a Twi'lek. Oh, she's totally a Twi'lek.
Yeah, I can see that. In fact, I'd like to see that. I'm just
she's like 12, I think.
No,
she's an adult.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, tomorrow night we're going to cover the politics episode. Hopefully,
we're going to talk about the. We don't know what we're going to talk about yet because the news has not happened yet.
We shall see.
This is some Spaceballs type shit,
I know, right?
It's happening right before our eyes.
Now.
How are we supposed to report? How are we supposed to talk about it? Are we supposed to do a live play-by-play?
I'm up for that. Well, let's see how tomorrow goes. We may have to. We'll see how it goes. I joined Clubhouse, that Apple thing where you can like live broadcast. It's real confusing, but maybe we should do something live like that.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Well, we'll see. Well,
I thought you were gonna say I joined Club Penguin. I was like,
I never left.
Club Penguin. I didn't leave Club Penguin. Club Penguin left me.
Right. I got a duplicate running on a homebrew server downstairs.
I have no idea what you're talking about. All right. Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.